Sometimes the people we overlook are the ones who change everything. He wasn't rich. He wasn't dressed for the occasion. He simply touched a piano. And in that moment, the world discovered that genius doesn't come with a price tag. Hey story lovers, welcome to Story Room by Rico. Subscribe, hit the bell, and let's dive in. Share where you're watching from in the comments. The story you're about to hear will make you question everything you think you know about greatness. Marcus Johnson grew up in the forgotten corners of Jefferson Heights, a neighborhood known more for its broken promises than bright futures. Cracked sidewalks, rusted playgrounds, apartment walls so thin he could hear every fight, every heartbreak, every dream crashing to the floor above and below him. But Marcus had a secret. While others in the neighborhood fought to survive each day, Marcus lived for the stolen hours after midnight, when the city's noise faded and he could slip out of his apartment, tiptoeing past his exhausted mother, Denise, who worked 2 jobs just to keep them afloat. He would sneak into St. Mark's, an abandoned old church 3 blocks down. Its roof sagged, pews were cracked, but in the far corner, hidden under a torn tarp, was something miraculous. A battered, ancient grand piano. It was missing a few keys. The pedals were rusted. But to Marcus it was a portal, a way out. He didn't have a teacher, no lessons. All he had was his ears and his soul. Night after night, Marcus taught himself. He listened to old songs on the battered radio at the laundromat where his mother worked, then rushed to recreate them at St. Mark's. He played Mozart, Chopin, Miles Davis, Ray Charles. He composed little melodies of his own, songs that told the story of cracked sidewalks and broken dreams, but also hope. No one knew, not even his mother, because Marcus had learned something hard and fast in Jefferson Heights. Dreams made you a target. The last time he showed off his skills, an impromptu concert at a block party, it almost got him killed. Word spread about the kid genius, and 2 nights later, their apartment was broken into. His mother barely escaped a confrontation that left Marcus shaken to the core. From that day forward, he vowed, already feeling the emotion? Marcus' real test hasn't even begun. Subscribe now and stay with us, because what happens next will leave you speechless. The world Marcus knew was rough, yes, but it was honest. The world he was about to enter, it had sharper knives, and the blades were hidden behind smiles. When Marcus turned 15, something impossible happened. A scholarship letter arrived, crumpled at the edges, but real. Fair Hollow Academy, the most prestigious private school in the state, was offering him a full academic ride. No one in Jefferson Heights had ever been invited there. Not once. Denise cried when she read it aloud. Marcus was frozen, hope and fear battling inside him. Fair Hollow was another planet compared to his world. Brick pathways, stone buildings, Tesla Chargers lining the parking lot. Students who wore designer shoes and didn't think twice about the price. He arrived on the first day wearing clean but simple clothes, hand-me-down khakis and a faded polo shirt. And though no one said it to his face, he felt the judgment like cold fingers tightening around his throat. He didn't belong. But Marcus wasn't there to fit in. He was there to survive and maybe, just maybe, to dream a little bigger. What no one knew was that inside his backpack, zipped tightly away, was a battered old iPod. And on that iPod, hours of piano performances, world symphonies, jazz improvisations, his secret training. At the heart of Fair Hollow's music program stood a legend, an $80,000 Steinway grand piano, custom-built and flown in from Italy. It was more than just an instrument, it was a symbol. Only the school's elite were allowed to play it. Students like Chase Harrington, son of a tech billionaire, who could afford private lessons from world-famous instructors since he was 4. Chase ruled the music scene with an iron smile. His performances dazzled. His suits shone. And everyone applauded because, well, what else do you do when power performs? Marcus avoided the music hall like it was radioactive. He sat through talent shows politely clapping, his fingers itching at his sides, his heart screaming to be heard, but his brain ordering him to stay invisible. Because Marcus had learned the hard way. Visibility meant vulnerability. and vulnerability could cost everything. It was late autumn when fate finally cornered him. Fair Hollow hosted its annual Founders Gala, a night of music, donations, and glittering performances meant to showcase the brightest talents. Students and parents flooded the marble atrium where the grand piano stood under golden spotlights. Marcus wandered through, keeping his head low, a cup of watered-down punch trembling slightly in his hand. And then, it happened. The Steinway stood unguarded for a moment. His keys gleamed like invitations under the warm lights. Marcus, heart-pounding, drifted closer. He didn't mean to do it. At least, that's what he'd later tell himself. But his hand, almost on its own, reached out. Fingers lightly brushed the smooth ivory of a single key. Plink. The note rang out. Soft, pure. A sound so clean it sliced through the noisy crowd like a laser. Heads turned, including Chase Harrington's. The rich boy's eyes narrowed. His friends snickered. Chase sauntered over, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Careful, Marcus. You smudge it, you buy it. Laughter rippled among his clique. Phones started to appear, recording, mocking. Marcus froze. His ears roared with shame. He pulled his hand back, mumbling an apology. But Chase wasn't done. Hey, everyone. Looks like the janitor thinks he's Mozart. More laughter. More recording. Marcus turned to leave, the smart move. The safe move. But then, someone unexpected stepped forward. Mr. Carter, the head of the music department. Silver-haired, thin-lipped, rarely smiled, blocked Marcus' retreat. No. Let's hear him, Mr. Carter said, voice like a knife. The room hushed. Marcus blinked in disbelief. Was this a chance? Or a trap? Chase folded his arms, smirking. The crowd circled tighter, phones held higher. Come on, Marcus, Chase sneered. Let's see what you've got. Marcus looked around. No escape, no allies, only a battered iPod in his pocket. Only a lifetime of music burned into his fingers. He swallowed hard and sat down at the grand piano. If you think Marcus is about to play it safe, think again. Hit that subscribe button and buckle up, because the real performance is about to begin, and you won't believe what happens next. The first note was soft, almost accidental, but make no mistake. What Marcus was about to do, he had been preparing for his whole life. The crowd leaned in. Chase stood smirking off to the side, arms folded, whispering to his friends. Phones hovered in the air, recording every second, every awkward breath. The light from the chandelier gleamed across the polished black wood of the Steinway. Marcus placed his hands on the keys, trembled slightly, closed his eyes, and then he played. But not the song anyone expected. He didn't launch into some bombastic, show-off piece to prove he could outshine Chase. He didn't hammer the keys to impress the crowd. Instead, he whispered through the piano. The melody was slow at first, haunting, delicate. A hybrid of classical structure and aching jazz, stitched together by raw feeling. It wasn't a piece most people recognized, because it wasn't from a book. It was his own. A song born from lonely nights at St. Mark's Church. A song that remembered cracked sidewalks and broken dreams. A song that carried every fear, every hope, every long-buried scream of someone who had been overlooked too many times. The audience went still. Chase's smirk faded. Even Mr. Carter, who had expected a public embarrassment, found his lips parting slightly in awe. Marcus's hands moved faster now. The melody built into something powerful, unstoppable, blending classical scales with the soulful wails of jazz and the technical brilliance of great composers he had only ever studied in secret. He played with his whole body, leaning into the music, pouring every ounce of pain, love, anger, and triumph into the ivory keys. Tears pricked the eyes of several parents watching. Phones lowered slowly, not to stop recording, but almost in reverence. It was as if the whole room was breathing with Marcus. For the first time, Marcus wasn't hiding. For the first time, he wasn't invisible. Just when it seemed the piece would end, Marcus surprised everyone again. He switched keys mid-song, slipping into a bold, dizzying improvisation that mimicked a popular pop melody. Something Chase had butchered during his earlier performance. Students gasped. Teachers exchanged looks. He wasn't just playing beautifully. He was answering Chase's mockery. With mastery, every flourish, every run, every trill on the high keys was a quiet, devastating rebuttal. Marcus didn't insult Chase with words. He didn't need to. He outclassed him without ever looking his way. When the final note faded into the rafters of the grand atrium, silence fell. For a long, breathless moment, nobody clapped. Nobody moved. Then, a single clap. Then another. Then a thunderstorm of applause shook the marble floor. Students stood. Parents stood. Even Mr. Carter, reluctantly, clapped, his face unreadable. Marcus stood up slowly. His hands were shaking, not from fear, but from release. He didn't bow. He didn't bask. He simply stepped away from the piano. Chase tried to laugh it off, tried to make a joke, but nobody was listening anymore. The headmaster approached Marcus personally, praising his hidden talent and suggesting he audition for prestigious conservatories. News spread fast, faster than Marcus ever imagined. The next day, clips of his performance went viral. National news stations picked up the story. Underdog prodigy silences rich bullies with breathtaking piano performance. Scholarship offers flooded in. Talent scouts called. Even a rep from Juilliard left a voicemail. Marcus should have been celebrating. Should have been dreaming bigger than ever. But deep down, a knot tightened in his gut. At home, Denise sat Marcus down at their cracked kitchen table, tears in her eyes. "Baby, this attention. It's different this time. But you have to be careful. Fame. It brings new kinds of danger." Marcus remembered the break-in from years ago. The shattered window, the fear in his mother's voice. He knew she was right. The world wasn't just applauding now. It was watching, and not all who watched were kind. Marcus just turned a moment of humiliation into history. But what happens when the world finally sees you? Smash that subscribe button to hear the ending you won't expect. It's easy to mistake applause for success. Easy to mistake viral fame for victory. But Marcus knew something deeper. Greatness isn't measured by who claps for you. It's measured by what you do. After the music fades, the offers rolled in. Full scholarships, national interviews, even a sponsorship to appear on a televised talent competition. It would have been easy, intoxicatingly easy, to grab the fame and run. Everyone expected it. But Marcus didn't. Instead, he made a different call. At a small press conference set up by the school board, reporters buzzing, lights glaring, Marcus stepped up to the microphone. He cleared his throat, hands steady. Green hoodie zipped up over the dress shirt someone had bought him for the occasion. "I'm grateful," he said. "More grateful than I can say. But there are a lot of kids like me, who will never get near a piano like that one. So if you really want to honor what happened here, don't give me a stage. Build stages for others." The crowd went silent. "I'm accepting a scholarship," Marcus continued, voice unwavering. "But I have one condition. Fair Hollow must start a free music program, open to any student, from any neighborhood. No auditions, no fees, just music. Because genius isn't rare. Opportunity is." Within 6 months, Fair Hollow's board, under immense public pressure, established the Marcus Johnson School of Music Outreach Program. Pianos were donated. Lessons were offered. Buses were arranged from underserved neighborhoods. Marcus still pursued his dreams, quietly, humbly, but he also lit torches for others behind him. He never forgot where he came from, and he never forgot the church with the broken piano that first taught him the power of a single note. The richest boy at Fair Hollow didn't change the world that night. The boy they tried to mock did. Talent doesn't care what shoes you wear. It doesn't care where you were born. It doesn't ask if you have the right last name. Talent waits, watching, until the moment it's finally heard. This was Marcus' moment. And now, maybe it's yours too. If you believe in second chances, if you believe genius can come from anywhere, hit that subscribe button. Because every week, we tell the stories the world tried to overlook, but we won't.